Hello guys, welcome to Good Do Micro Projects. Kindly check this application out. When I say Good Do, it says send, it tells me thank you for subscribing. In this video, we're going to develop this using React hooks and Redux. If you want to type along with me, kindly install the following. 1. npm install Redux, 2. npm install React Redux, and 3. npm install Redux DevTools extension. Without setting time, let's begin. Great. Let's begin by creating 3 folders in our SRC folder. So we name one assets. Now create another one and name it components. Then create another one and name it Redux. So that is there. Let's take the first one, assets. Now we need some images in the assets folder. So let me go to my desktop and grab the images that I took from the internet. So I have these images here. I'm going to copy them to the root folder, the folder I'm working on, this assets using the backdoor. So to do that, I go to look for my app, then I look for the SRC folder. I come to the assets and I paste it there nicely. Good. So our images are ready. We should be ready to go. Let's check it out. Good. Good. Images are ready. So we're done with the asset folder. So the next one is the component folder. And let's create another folder and call it sub folder. Okay. Now in the sub folder, let's create a file and call it sub.js. Good. So let's create the boilerplate. Now instead of ordinary D, why don't we make it react.fragment? Good. And inside it, we say h1 tag and say hello. Now let's link that to the app.js to view on the screen. So we say sub. Good. Now we need to import sub. So we say import sub from where? From components. Good. Sub folder, then sub. Good. Now let's check that on the screen. Great, we have hello on the screen, so meaning we're ready to go. So let's begin. Now, what's going to be the structure of our application? Now let's check that out. Now in this application, we're going to have something like this. Then we have the header. Okay. Then we can have our input button here. Oh, sorry, not this one. We can have our input button here. Then our input button beside it. So our input field here and our input button beside it. So that is that for the application. Now with the page setup, let's going to work in the middle region. So since Bootstrap is divided into 12 columns, we're going to take the first 4 empty so we can get access to the second 4. Good. So we can have 4, 4, 4. So we're going to work in this region. So that is that for the page setup. So now let's get into action. Let's create a div. Give the class name and call it row. Good. Now inside the row, let's create another div. Give the class name and call it call. MD4. Okay, now let's copy that so we can work in the second one. This way we're going to work over here. So let's give it a card. So over here we say give us div the class name, call it card. Now inside the card we need a header and a body, so we say div class name card header. Now we copy that twice so we can change this one to the body. So let's take the first one and work with the header. The header, what do we need? We need an image. We say img tag. Good. Img tag, let's give it src equals header image. Good. Now inside the header image we need an alt, call it header image. Good. So that is that. Let's give the image width and height. Width, let's give it 200 and height of 60. So that is that. Let's import our image. So we say import header image from where? No. Good. Assets, then img1.jpg. Yeah, that is that. Let's check the screen if we have our image. Great. So now let's add some margin tab, then our body. So let's get margin tab MT5, then the cut. Let's give margin tab 5. Good. Now next is our body. So our body. Good. Let's go there. Good. Our body. Now let's create a container for our body. Now let's copy this. Let's cut this first. Let's give it body. Now to work on the body, let's create a container so that we can add a background image to the body. So we say div class name equals img container. Good. Now inside the image container we need another div to serve as a wrapper to reduce the gradient of the image. So we say div class name, let's call it image wrapper. Good. So over here we can now add the body. So we say div class name card body. That is that. Now inside our body, what do we need? We need a form. Okay. And the form we need two inputs. So we call div, we call class name equals form group. We need two inputs, so let's copy one. Get one for the input and one for the button. So let's say input we made type call email. Then in the placeholder I will say enter your email. Then we need a class name. Call it from control. Good. So that is that for the input. Likewise for the button. We need our input. Then inside the input we need a type. Type and call it submit. Then need the value, call it send. Then a class name, call it from control. So that is that. Let's check that out. Great, exactly what we need. Now what we need to do next is to make the from inline so that it can be adjacent to the same. So let's do that. So we go to our form, give the class name, and we say from inline. Let's check that out. Great. Now let's enter it and give it some margins at both ends. So we say card. Okay, simplest we can just do it here. We can say justify content center. So that is that. Let's give it some margin top and bottom. So we say font, okay. So MT5 then MB margin bottom also 5. Let's check that out. Great. So now we can now give it a background image. So let's go to our CSS and we call our image container. We say .img container with a background image URL assets /img2. Then the background position cover. Let's check it out. Great. Now what we need to do is to tone down the image. So we use the wrapper. So we say .img wrapper. So we say background color RGBA bracket 0 also 0.7. Let's check it out. Great. So that is that with the setup. So next is to center this image. Then we bind our inputs. Then add a background color to the send button. So let's do that. So let's say btn send. Let's give it a background color of hash C80504. Great. Then we give it a color of white smoke, then a border none. Good. Now let's check it out. Okay, we need to link it to the sub.js. So we say the class name, we can say btn send. Good. So I think we're good to go. Then test and center for the image. So let's say go to the image, the card. Good. Then we say test center. Good. So now everything is centered. Let's build in this right things too. So let's say font weight bold. Copy that. Send it to the email too. Let's check it out. Great. I think this looks cool now. Now we can bind our inputs. So let's start with the email input. Good. By first giving our importing our state. We say use state from React. Good. So we can now say that let email set email be equal to use state to bracket and give an object and say my email with value empty. So let's comment it and say binding input. So that is that. So from here we can give our input a name. Say name equals, what's a name? Let's give you a name, my email. How do I spell it? Email. Yeah. Name is my email. And value will be email dot my email. Good. Then I'm going to change function which can handle change. To write a function for handle change. So you go and say handle change. So now say let handle change equals a function, okay, where the event when called should give us the set email into bracket, give us an object that can return the email, then event.target.name should be given event.target.value. So it will look at the name, then change it to the value. So that is that. We can check that using a pre-tag, and we call JSON.stringify. So we say JSON.stringify into bracket email. Let's check that out on the screen. Good. So our email is shown. So anything I type here should appear in the email. So we say abc.com. It's appeared in the email. abc@gmail.com appears in the email. So that is that. So our input field is ready. Now next to bind is our submit button. So to do that, I'll go to the submit. Good. So now we go to the form now and give it an on submit. So we say on submit equals handle submit. So let's create a function for handle submit. So we say over here, so now I can say handle submit. So we say let's handle submit equals to function where the event, first we need to what? Prevent is our event dot prevent, now it's one word default. Good, for function to avoid rerun. Now to test that out, we can just alert our email. So we say alert email. So let's type. Good. So that's alerted the email. So button 2 is now working. So what to do next is now go to our Redux. So we can close all this, then move to Redux. Okay. So to begin with, let's create a file in the Redux folder and call it store.js. Let's create another file in the Redux folder and call it roots reducer.js. Now inside the Redux folder, let's create another folder and call it sub-redux. Now inside sub-redux, let's create a file and call it sub.action types. Good. Now inside sub.redux, let's create another file again and call it sub.actions. Yes. Now inside the same sub Redux folder again, let's create another file and call it sub.reducer JS. So we're ready to go. So let's take the action types. Now we ask ourselves what actions we need in this application. All we need is to send the data to the store. When the email is in the input field, the button should be clicked to send it to the store. So this way, when the input is ready, we should click it, but it takes it to the store. So let's do that. So we say export const send email to store equals the same thing, send email to store. We copy. That is that for the action types. Now let's go to the next one, actions. Now to begin, we need to import the action type. So we say import send email to store from where action types give. That is that. So next we say let send email to store be equal to a function. Good. That will return what? A type called what? Send email to store, comma, and payload email. So we make the payload email so that it can grab the image, the email that is being typed over here. You can take it from there and send it to the store so you can capture it. So that is that. So we put the email here and the payload to make it also email. So from here we can now export our send email to store. So that is that for the actions. So next is the sub.reducer. Now the sub.reducer, what do we need? We need to import our action types again. So we go to .actions and go ahead and copy. Good. Now let's copy it here. We import it. Good. So next, we create a feature key in the store to hold the state. So we say let now export const subkey equal to sub store. Good. Well, now let's create an initial state. So we say let initial state be equal to what? My email to value empty. Now we can now say let sub reducer be equal to a function. Good. Where the state now be equal to the initial state, comma, action. Good. And the action we all know, we have the type payload equals action. So our switch statement to bracket type, we can say when a case that is send email to store is being called, then we should return what? Return the state back, come on, and the payload back. That is that. Give it a default case. We say default should return state. That is that. You can now export our sub reducer. Now export the sub reducer to where? To the root reducer. So let's import it in the root reducer. So we say import sub reducer from where? From sub Redux and sub reducer. So that is that. We also need to import another one we call combine reducers from Redux. So now we can say let root reducer be equal to combine reducers into bracket. Okay, we link the key. So we say the sub key is caps sub key. We link it to the reducer. So we say sub reducer. So that is that. Next is to export our root reducer. So we say export root reducer. Export root reducer to where? To the store. So we say import root reducer from where? From root reducer. Good. Then we need to also import create store from Redux. Then we also import compose with dev tools from Redux DevTools extension. So that is that. So we can now say let store be equal to create store into bracket root reducer, comma compose with DevTools function. Now we can now export our store. Export our store to where? To app.js. So we go to app.js, then import our store. So we say import store from where? From Redux, then from store. Good. That is that. We also need to import provider from Redux. Okay, now let's wrap the provider around the sub. So we say provider. Provider should be giving store equals store. So let's cut, paste it there. Good. Rearrange it nicely. Good. So our store is also ready. So now let's check the screen to see if it's complaining. Good. It's complaining about something here. src redux store.js. Which folder object is not a function. Composed with DevTools. I didn't spell it correctly, so let's check it out. Go to the store, composed with DevTools. Good. Great. Oh, another complaint. Composed with DevTools is not defined. Oh, I thought I would get that. Composed with DevTools over here too. Okay. Good. Now let's check it out. Great. Now our store is ready. No complaint. Means our store is ready. Now let's check the store. Go to Redux. Good. Great. Our store is ready. You can see our state email is ready, and sub to is ready. So what to do next now is to link the store to the component. How to do that? Good. Now let's go to the component and import use selector and use dispatch. So we say import use selector, use dispatch from React Redux. Now let's call use dispatch. We say let's dispatch be equal to use dispatch. Good. Our dispatch is ready. So instead of alerting our email, why not dispatch it to the store? So we say dispatch what? We go to our actions. Dispatch what? Send email to store. So let's go and dispatch send email to store. Comma sub. So we say send email to store. Then email. We capture the email. So let's go import it. Send email to store has been imported for us, so no need to worry. Well, let's check it out. Good. So I type abc@gmail.com and say send. Now let's check our store if we're going to have abc@gmail.com. Great. We have abc@gmail.com in the store. So it means our store, our email has been sent to the store. We now need to view the store. So let's use selector to view the store. So we say, put it down here, let's say view store. So we say let's view sub equal to a function, no, equal to use selector function that gives us another function, and just say links the state, then should return the state and the feature key. So we say sub key. Let's import sub key. It has been imported for us already. Good news. So that's that. So now we can view sub on the screen. So instead of email, you can say view sub. Okay, so it's going to show us the store on the screen. So Jason can do that for us. Great. So when I tap abc.com and I say send, it will appear in the store. So now this is the store. See abc@gmail.com is in the store. You get it? So likewise, I can type another 123 at gmail. Now next, I would like us to create a scenario that when I send the email, the application tells me thank you for subscribing. So to do that, we're going to use an if statement. Now let's check how to do that. Now we go to our body located. I'm going to cut that out. Good. So we can create our if statement here. So we say if view sub dot my email dot length equals 0, then what do? Put a question mark. If it equals 0, what do? Display our phone. Otherwise, display another div, another div with a class name, cat body. Now inside that, we're going to have a div, get, then with a class name margin top 5 and margin bottom 5. Then inside this div, let's have an h2 tag that will say thank you for subscribing. And let's give it some class name. Say font weight, bold, and text white. So let's check it out. Okay, so when I say abc@gmail, this is send. Say thank you for subscribing. So now next is to take the pre tag out. Good, you can comment it. Then we finally say good do micro project. It says thank you for subscribing. Yo guys, that is that. Thank you for sticking through. Don't forget to do good. Catch you in the next video. We say goodbye.